Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel, and it's the ultimate insult aimed at Manchester United from the Napoli president. Also, we want to touch on Manchester United's search for a new head of recruitment. As usual, please get involved in the chat with your own opinions, and we'll try and discuss them throughout today's video. Some brutal truths, or is it just a bit of public posturing there from the Napoli president?
I think he's looking at a couple of things. He's telling us any player comes out of Manchester United, he becomes a better player. He says he can't explain it, but I am sure you'll have your views on that. I just think you look at it in the climate of Anthony Elanga, certainly better player. You look at Scott McTominay, and I'm sure he's looking at Scott McTominay and saying, well, we've made him into a great player. He just needed to leave Manchester United. But I don't think it's as simple as that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, as you can see on screen there, he's had a few words to say about Garnacho, and he's saying, you know, he leaves Manchester United, he'll be twice the player. Well, I'm expecting him to pay twice the money then. If you think he's going to be twice the player, come on, put the money on the table and cough up and then get him out of Manchester United and go and make him into this better player you think he's going to be.
Yeah, he's come out and said a few things. I think he's messed up there, made the right mistake. Yes, cough up, that's what we want. United are going to hang in there for the full fee, whether it's 60 or 70 million, who knows what the actual fee. But I just look at it and I think to myself, Garnacho, he talks about him. Sorry. He says he's got pace, he's got flair. We know that. It's just that there's something missing in the team play with him, and obviously the off-field with the antics and that. But it's all about potential with Garnacho, and I say it, he's got potential. You know, 6 months ago I said they should have kept him. Don't worry about him. You know, they'll turn him round, arm round him and all that. But he just got worse. But the potential is there, and he is right. And it's the same with Scott McTominay at Napoli. He was always a fighter, Scott McTominay, team player, worked for the team and everything. And he just needed things to go differently for him. Wasn't used in the same way at Napoli. So for me, it's potential, and Scott McTominay always had the potential to perform. And Garnacho has got that.
Yeah, a lot of you's getting involved with your own opinions on that, especially what the Napoli president has said. So would you say then this is some sort of brutal truths in what he's coming out with?
I think people going back into Carrington today, I mean, the full squad's back in there today. You'll see all the pictures later. The coaches, everybody in there, people in the background, the men in suits. I think they'll be looking at this and thinking, you know, they won't be looking at each other in the eye, because this is scathing. And he is right in a certain way. I think certain United players, especially Anthony Elanga and Scott McTominay, they were kept down. Certain names, certain star names and all that were preferred. So that's how I look at it. So some players will actually look at Manchester United and say, am I really going to Manchester United? Is it better for my career? You know, some players inside will be looking at it and thinking, you know, I think they'll already be looking at it thinking, shall I leave for my career, for the sake of my career? I'm being stifled here. And I think quite a few players, when you look at it as a whole, and I use Scott McTominay and I use Anthony Elanga as the example, I think their careers were stifled at Man United for many, many different reasons. I can't explain it. The Napoli president can't explain why certain players become better, but I am sure in the comments you'll try and explain it for us. Give us your opinion.
Environment, that'll be definitely one of him. Yeah. And I don't think he's wrong when he's saying he's got pace, flair and potential, because we've discussed it many a time with views out there that we do believe it would be likely that Garnacho would go on to fulfil some sort of potential that we all think he's currently got at another club.
I think he's got the potential. He just needs to knuckle down, and he's not been prepared to knuckle down. You know, £60 million for him for a player what doesn't knuckle down. Everyone sees that. Is this a gamble by Napoli? I don't think it's a gamble. I don't think it's a gamble at all. I think the potential's there, and I think once he leaves the environment, and Kieron just mentioned the environment, I think the environment at Manchester United, as I've said it many, many times, there's a virus in there. It just stinks, and some players will benefit. Not all players benefit, we know that. So it's just not as simple. But as a young lad, Garnacho, he's got everything there for him for the future. He just has to knuckle down. So it's all about up there. Has he got it mentally? And we'll see in the future.
I mean, it could be a case of throwing stones at glass houses here, because it's not gone smoothly with Napoli, the president, and Osimhen, has it? Going back 12 18 months ago in what's gone on over there. And obviously went on loan to Galatasaray. It's looking likely that Galatasaray will actually make that move permanent as well. But there was a massive falling out there between Osimhen and the president as well.
Just look at Gyökeres. Gyökeres is no different. Big falling out, keep away from the training ground. There you go, opening his mouth, challenging the president, calling him a liar. You know, this was the potential where Garnacho was going to go down the line. I'm not too sure he would have hit the heights of what I've just said there on Gyökeres and Osimhen. But the potential's there for him just to flip off the handle, get a little bit like...
Bit brave.
Not brave.
Yeah.
I think he's being restricted as a young lad, setting himself free, and I think he needs to be let free to go. He's got it all. He's got the pace. He's got the flair. And one thing I like about him, he will fight. Once he gets knocked on the floor, he gets up and he's at it. He just needs someone to coach him into the finer arts of what he needs to do for the team. And he's not been getting that at United, and many players haven't been getting that at United. And like I say, these coaches at United will be looking at each other and think, have we got it right now?
Do you think negotiations after him coming out with this, the Napoli president, will go any further? Because I'm just looking at the bottom line there where he said, we want him because he's at United. Get him out and he becomes twice the player. There's a fault at United that I can't explain. And like you said before, that's not going to go down well with a lot of people inside United. It's not going down well with me as a fan, even though I do think there's some sort of truths in there on Garnacho's potential. But how do you see this working out? Do you see something actually getting worked out with a transfer there?
I think maybe he's spoken to Scott McTominay for a while. Well, why wouldn't he speak to him? Player of the year, goal scorer, everything. Napoli there winning the league and all that. I'm sure they've had plenty of conversations. And I think Scott McTominay's criticism of Manchester United, and quite rightly so, he should never have been sold. Should never have been sold. But hey, there was pure profit in him. That's why United sold him. And we always go on about United. They're just interested in the money. No, I think he will have learnt some truths from Scott McTominay, whether directly or indirectly passed down to him from the manager or something like that in conversations. And I think he's got an understanding of how poor it is, especially with the scouts, especially with coaches, everything. It's just been diabolical, really. People jumping over other people in jobs, resentment and everything. I think he would have give the full details in conversations over there of how happy and relieved he is to get out of Manchester, finally playing football with the freedom. And he never had that at United. I think it was sad to leave, but at the end of the day, I think he's looking back at that going, best move I've ever made. And players will look at it also thinking, is that my best move, go to Manchester United?
Just going into the chat, Kelvin from our members club says, Osimhen will thrive here at United with this pressure, unlike Garnacho. Simply Dread from our members club, we need more winners in this club from top to bottom. Georgie7 says, one signing in 6 weeks, it's pathetic. Thanks Ineos and the Rat, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And, you know, just going back to Garnacho briefly, you know, I've seen some reports this morning, which I do take with a pinch of salt from like the likes of the Mirror, where they're looking at like, well, they're stating that it's like a £45 million that Napoli are willing to offer for Garnacho. Is that a fair price when you look at the actual circumstances he's facing currently at United, where he's not wanted?
I think 45, 50 million will get him with a few add-ons. I think that's how it's going to go. United just... Listen, the president's come out and I think he's made a bit of a boo-boo talking about he's got the pace, flair, potential, everything else like that. So I think there'll be a fee set on with the potential for him to improve in going forward. But United there, you just look at it and you think to yourself, in the background, you know, players coming to United, oh, they'll be all right. No, they won't be all right. This place is in uproar. This place is on the ground. There's a lot of turmoil to come here. So other players will be leaving. We know that. Potentially 5, maybe more players this summer. Is it best for them when you look at it? You look at Sancho. You know, Sancho will just go anywhere. He you know, so long as he's happy, that's it. Has he got the fight? No, he's not got the fight like Anthony Elanga and Scott McTominay. None of these players are in the same class as them two.
Do you not think, since Ruben Amorim come through the door, though, I always mentioned it pretty early on, that the type of Garnacho is, where I think he's the only really winger, out-and-out winger we've currently got in the club, where I did think he'd have difficulty adapting to that number 10 role. Do you think he adapted pretty well, though, to the instructions given and that position, though?
I'm not too sure whether a player is like certain, I want to play this position at such a young age. I think he's quite happy to move about. I think young players want to get on the pitch. They want to play football.
Bit of an education.
Listen, I wouldn't worry. I'm playing for Manchester United. I don't care if I'm in that position or that position. Just play me. I want to play football.
Yeah.
And I think the strife between the manager, the coaches, and Garnacho was never going to get solved, because Garnacho had sort of lost the plot type of thing in his respect for certain people in there, and we've seen it many times.
Conrad from our members club seems to think that McTominay, I think he's aiming this at as thrive, because the pressure at Napoli is far less than it is at Manchester United. You've got to be a special breed of player to play for Manchester United.
Listen, the pressure for Manchester United as a player was to get in the Champions League. Totally different pressure at Napoli. Once they get kicking and running, the pressure is on. I've seen lots of things over the years going on at Napoli, and they're under pressure every day, especially at training. The fans turn up and everything else like that. You don't get that. These players here, they're all isolated, they're all looked after. You know, it's like a newborn baby. They're all getting pampered and everything. You know, they've got everything done for them. Where's the pressure there? They're on massive wages. Talk about pressure. That's no pressure. You go to Napoli and you're in big trouble if you don't perform or you do something and step out of line. So there's a different type of pressure. Pressure of the world here. Man United players haven't got the pressures of the world. They've got everything for them. You know, they're just given everything. They're looked after. They haven't got a clue, some of them.
Yeah. Bang on. Phil Berry says 45 million and a massive sell-on fee for Garnacho, in his opinion. Yarley says the transfer window is 7 weeks longer. We do not know who or what will happen. You talk about pressure. There's a lot of pressure, I think, now beginning to build on Manchester United to get this Mbeumo deal done and over the line as soon as possible now.
I think it's more frustration. I mean, I think it's about 38 days this has been going on with Mbeumo. I think it's more frustration, really. We know he's coming to Manchester United. We know Brentford are selling into him, and it's just a matter of, like, add-ons and all that from what we said yesterday. That's how it looks like. But it's frustration. But I'm looking at it. Get him over the line, Mbeumo. That's it. That's the two signings done. That's the two signings done, and then get players sold. And if we can get Garnacho out, get the money for him, and the same with the other players, then there's potential to go in for possibly one more. And you just never know. We might get someone at the death.
Yeah, and I just think the famous five, or we might call the famous five that we've discussed, who have been sold not to come back to training until later on in July. I actually do think moves for them, which is more likely loan moves, will happen later on in the transfer window, as Manchester United probably become more desperate just to get them off the wage bill and out the club, so there's no negativity around the main squad.
Well, I look at signings there, and, you know, those who keep up to date with the young players and everything what's coming in, lots of them are being signed from 14 to 18 years of age. You know, we're not just out there signing players for the first team. Wilcox is doing his job for the future, so that's a good thing, and we don't normally see that what goes on, but a lot of players are being signed, so there is hope for the future. But as fans, we know what we want. We want the here and now. That's what it's about, the future. Hey, that'll take care of itself. But a lot of players are being signed, so there is people in the background doing the due diligence and all that for the future and all that, but it just seems as though, like, they've gone astray on today, and there's big problems coming round the corner for this season. That's how I see it.
Manj says a lot of these players flourish outside the Premier League. The league is fast-paced. It's a different level compared to Serie A and La Liga. Fred Crantham, from our members club says, Tony, was it a mistake to bring in Ruben Amorim, and how long will he last if it goes belly up?
The biggest mistake, okay, I don't really think you can bring Ruben Amorim into the problem. The biggest mistake was the owners, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, when they come in and bought that minority share. Okay, obviously the Glazers are always to blame. They should have just walked in here and just sacked the manager straight away, and they should have had a manager ready to replace him. That's what they should have done. Gone out there, got the manager they needed, put an interim manager in for a month or two, and then go and get the manager. The planning going forward was abysmal, and these people talk about best in class and everything. We're going to turn United around and all that. I think Ruben Amorim had no choice but to come in. He wanted Manchester United. That's fine. You only get offered the job once, and he came in, and it's been diabolical. Lots of players let him down. But when haven't players let managers down? You know, you can look at Ollie. Ollie was there, finished second, things like that. You know, you look at Mourinho, wasn't backed. I think blaming the managers, as far as I'm concerned, is over now. Where we are with the manager is we've got him. He's got 2 years on his contract. We can't keep sacking managers. We've got to look at the players now. The players, they've got to take responsibility, and we're bringing in a couple of players, and hopefully we turn it round.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at it from a positive, that when he did come in, Ruben Amorim, first of all, that he did come in when asked, because you never know who Manchester United might have then gone and got, and it could have been Gareth Southgate. So I'm happy that he did come in when he did, and also it may have given him a head start to assess this squad, which I think by the looks of it right now, when you look back, it's actually given that, you know, when you're looking at players like Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford, etc., it's giving that head start now to plan more so and much stronger going into the next Premier League season for me.
I think when people talk,
so they're all on board.
Listen, when they talk about Ruben Amorim as though like, was it a mistake? The whole mistake was down to Ineos. We've seen mistake after mistake after mistake, you know, sacking a manager, and then we end up keeping him, and then we're out there talking to other managers and all that. What's that? You know, let's be honest here. Absolutely atrocious building for the future. That was ridiculous. And then keeping him, and then giving him all that money to spend, and now Ruben Amorim's got no money. So he's got no money. He's not being. He's got no kit.
He's pulling them pockets out, and his pennies rolling out.
But they gave him all that money. They gave Eric Ten Hag that money, knowing they were going to sack him in the summer, because Ruben Amorim has told us he was coming in the summer. He didn't want to leave until the summer, and then he was told, "You get one chance, take it or leave it." And then he came. But it's all down to the people running the club. This isn't Ruben Amorim's fault. He's walked in it. The one good thing about Ruben Amorim, I see going forward, right, we'll know pretty early on how the football's going with the integration of a couple of signings and that, and if it suits the Premier League. So fingers crossed on that for Ruben Amorim, because it's going to be tough. And the fact is, he will work with a smaller squad, and what will happen, he will bring in 4 or 5 young players to this squad going forward.
Sorry to cut you off. Simply Dread makes a good point there from our members club in the chat. He says it's on Ruben's shoulders more this season. Let's see if he can get the players going and get the team playing football. And you know, he's got a point there. I mean, you know, for what he'd done last season, which wasn't good enough, not just the manager but the players as well. I mean, is it just one of them where you can just sort of like wipe the slate clean, so to speak, now?
No. I hope people aren't getting me wrong as though I'm giving Ruben Amorim a clear path here. No, he's had 9 months here. If you don't know what's wrong inside the coaching staff, the recruitment, the transfer system, if you don't know what's wrong around you after 9 months of shambolic football, then there's something wrong that you've not been able to see how to put that right. How to improve things. We need improve. There is no excuse here for Ruben Amorim not to improve. We can't have carrying on like that. This is down to Ruben Amorim also, from a football point of view. Forget the club, but from a football point of view,
decision making, man management,
everything,
like
everything around him, he should have got rid. All the poison he should have got rid, and he should have a plan, and he should know what to do, and he has to implement that on day one. But what he has to do, he has to be backed by the club, and the players, they have to be got in. But I go back, he's got no money. Eric Ten Hag spent it last summer.
I know, but I don't think a lot of people will have it out there that, you know, he can't get a tune out of some of these players, though, and make them maybe better players. You know, when you've got some youngsters there with some good potential, like your Amads, your Lenny Yoros, etc., you know, you might have Martinez returning near the start or for the start of the season as well.
Every United fan out there will be demanding he improves these players. He was brought in to improve them. That's why we got Ruben Amorim. Turn the club around, turn these players around, get the best out of them. We believe in you, Ruben Amorim. He believes in himself, right? So at the moment, we're all believing, but he has to get the best out of him. He has to improve him. And every United fan should demand it. Yeah. There are no excuses. These players should improve. The only problem some of these players have got, right, is injuries.
Look, you
can't improve a person who's been injured all the time.
No.
In, out. That does not suit the team at all. So there's one thing a lot of United fans are saying. You can't improve this team when a player comes in for 2 games and then he's out injured. Well, you just got to get the injured players out. That's the way it is. There's quite a few of them. I know we went on about Shaw yesterday, and my God, did you lot react to Shaw yesterday?
Oh, yeah, that was one of the biggest videos I've seen us do for a very long time, where people are just constantly coming in the comment section all about a player.
Listen, throughout the day and night, I looked at the comments and I was absolutely like just looking at them and thinking, everyone had an opinion on Luke Shaw, and 90-odd% of it wasn't good. Yes, we all know about his how he broke his leg and all that, but it's everything about Luke Shaw, attitude, everything. But he's just one, and that's why we brought Luke Shaw up, and he's a symptom of what is in that. Too casual, too set in the ways.
He's not looked after himself properly as well. Obviously, that night in Eindhoven, no player or anyone wants to go through an injury that he suffered. But since then and in recent years, the way he's returned back to training after going away with England, etc., he's not looked after himself properly for the money he's being paid as a professional for this football club. And some of it is down to himself, probably, in why some of the injuries have occurred as well over the last couple of years. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, people were very clear. This is all down to Luke Shaw himself, the way he's kept himself fit, well, unfit, shall we say, that these injuries occur if you don't look after your body. And people did say Luke Shaw hasn't looked after his body unless there's a big England tournament coming up and we know what goes on. He will fight to get in that England shirt. That's what he will do. But we've not seen the fight getting in a Man United shirt, but he's not the only one. I'm not picking on him alone. And that's why I say, while we've got players at the club, right, who are injury prone and that, really, Ruben Amorim, does he pick him? Because can he trust him to last more than 3 games?
I do want to get onto that bit of news about Manchester United searching for a head of senior recruitment shortlist, or I want to know your opinions on that news. But just to finish off, Conrad from our members club says, would a top 10 finish be classed as a good season after last year? And let's face it, Omar Barada wants us winning the league in 2028, whereas last season we were closer to winning the Championship than the Premier League. So what's your thoughts on it?
If we're all screaming that we need a goalkeeper, and a goalkeeper costs us all the time and is absolute rubbish, right, and it's the Premier League, then finishing above 10th will absolutely be fantastic. I expect no more than 8. That's what I've give, okay? I don't see how anyone, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, how we're going to beat them? How we're going to overtake them? How we're going to get the consistent runs with them? When people out there can constantly complain about Onana. I'm not happy with Onana. I think he's been poor. I've always said that United would keep him this year. And the same with another, I forget the other player now, Højlund. But Onana, then you've got Højlund, then you've got other players out there.
You know what?
I don't see how we can finish above 8th.
Yeah, but
10th is good as far as I'm concerned. This is the worst team Manchester United have ever had, right? So your expectations, right, don't look at reality. I've just mentioned all the injuries.
The reality is, right, under Erik ten Hag, in his final full season, we finished 8th. And this squad is meant to be better than that squad. And that season, we had injuries left, right and centre. No consistency. And we've gone backwards. And now we're looking back up towards 8th again, as though that'll be a good season. I mean, that's not good enough, though. Surely somewhere, you know, along the lines here, you know, our vision, our scope's been blinded by whatever's going on in the background, been sucked off it, because 8th for Manchester United is still not good enough, especially when you look at then how amount of time the backroom staff or the top lads like Omar Barada, Ratcliffe, Wilcox have had in this football club to turn it round. Surely 8th isn't acceptable.
Name me 2 world-class players Manchester United have got. Name me 2. Name me 2 world-class players Manchester United have got. To win the league, to challenge for cups, everything else like that, you need world-class players at Manchester United. We've always had them. Name me 2.
Yeah, some people.
So you're not going to finish and challenge. You're not going to be in the top 4. Every other team has bought. They've not just bought 2 players. They're buying players. They're continually buying players. Chelsea have done good business. Arsenal are doing good business. Liverpool have done excellent business. Man City, my God, they were buying in January, ready for the start of next season. United aren't in a class anywhere near them. It's as simple as that, okay? So the reality is we're just a poor side, poor-run club, managed poorly, okay? We're all hoping for it to turn round. And I'm not trying to be negative, okay? But going forward, if we get the likes of Kuna and Mbeumo scoring the goals, what they were doing for the respective clubs and that, hey, I'm happy with that. The only thing I'm not happy about is I do believe we need another centre-half because I think we're going to come up short with injuries through these players. That's how I see it. And obviously, Onana, yes, if we're going to change him, #1 goalkeeper, but we've no money for him. And that's why I say Onana will stay this year. Give him 1 more year. The same with Højlund.
I mean, you look at under Ten Hag there, he's, for me, in the transfer business, the windows, players leaving and coming in, he got a lot wrong, but we won 2 trophies out of 3 under Eric Ten Hag. We should have won the Europa League under Ruben Amorim last season. So there's got to be something somewhere in this squad that, you know, there is players that are good enough, those surely, to play for this club because...
Any team in the Premier League has moments. Poor sides have moments. And that's what we are. We're a poor side and we have moments. That's who we are. That's the reality of who we are. We have moments. You know, we've been smashed by teams.
Yeah, of course. Like
smashed, poor, give up, not even in the game.
Yeah, I got beat by Tottenham 4 times last year, and obviously, like, they finished below us in the Premier League. But you're just looking at it from, you know, the Premier League, domestic cups, and to Europe, and
no,
you know,
when
there's
you get
something
beat,
fundamentally wrong there.
When you get beat consistently at home by teams like Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Fulham, and other teams, okay, right, then you're rubbish. That's simple. You're rubbish.
Okay.
Anyone tell me any different? We're rubbish. And what we're hoping for is a turnaround.
Yeah.
Right? But Ruben Amorim overseen that rubbish last year. Okay? So he has to improve. Surely. He has to improve it.
Keith Stitt says United have gone from having the goal of the league or it's a disaster. Sorry, mate, couldn't work that one out, what you've said there, how you've wrote it. Simply Dread says Bruno talking about him, other people talking about different players. People also agree that there's no world-class players in this squad. But I think when you start using terms, though, with like world-class players, everyone's opinion on what is world-class does differ as well, though, in my opinion. But
it's
let's get on to some other news.
Just a matter of opinions.
Yeah,
I don't see a really good Manchester United side scattered with 1 or 2 world-class players. Finishing 15th tells you that.
Yeah, as you can see on screen, Manchester United are searching for a head of senior recruitment, a new role overseeing senior scouts as part of their overhaul of that department. United will also have regional heads of emerging talent across the main talent pools globally. The appointments are part of the ongoing restructuring and attempted modernisation of the scouting network. Your first thoughts on this? My first thought was the timing of it during a transfer window.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right, but I look back and what's happened is the director of scouting, Steve Brown, and many others, they've been out of there. But what it is, I just look at what it is going on inside the club, and it's Ratcliffe. This is Ratcliffe and Brailsford who have set this in motion a while ago, and it's his drive to cut costs and change the way the club is run. They believe this is the most important area going forward because they're data-driven, computers and analysis and all that, but they're missing the one fundamental thing, and that you don't get from data and analysis, and it's the actual player himself, the human being, his temperament and everything, and you just can't beat that. So scouts go out there and they look around and they talk to the family, they talk to the managers of these clubs, what they're playing for, what they're scouting for and everything. And they're getting an understanding of the human being in that. And that goes a long way to bringing a player to any professional football club. But for me, it's data-driven, scouting and all that, you do need your scouts, but these seem to be cutting it. And for me, it's a financial drive to cut costs. And I think United will suffer down the line because everything Ratcliffe seems to do in sport is data-driven. And he's not having a successful time in anything he does. Him and Brailsford, anything he does, right, in any sport, data-driven. And no, that's the truth. I look round there, and Ratcliffe is always, him and Brailsford are always going on about like the Formula One and, cycling and this, and it's data-driven. And yeah, they had
You've got to look at Liverpool though. There, a lot of what they've been doing over there, a lot of work is also data driven. So it will work for some clubs out there. It's whether they do it properly and in the right way. And he's always said, Ratcliffe, when he's walked through the door, like you say, about data, and it's not been good enough collecting that and actually using it to find the right players. Yeah,
but you can bring data in, right? You can upgrade it and all that, right? And I don't know what other clubs are doing, right? But I think what United have done, because of the cost cutting, they've gone too far and then just got rid of loads of people inside there what understand what it is to scout around, to look at players and everything. And I think that's what United have done. And it's cost driven. And that's why I believe once you lose people what have been around for years and years and years, right, who have got that, most of all, they've got the heart for Man United. They've got the best interests and all that, and they're trying to bring people into the club. I mean, the history of United with youngsters, I mean, we've just signed a lot of youngsters. That's down to Jason Wilcox, so I'll give him credit for that, okay? But the thing is, you still need them scouts and that. So to go and lose, like, people for generations what have been there, I think it's done too quickly, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but even when you get in a few of the youngsters in, like you're saying, these 14, 15-year-olds, we've also got Diogo Leon, who I think we actually signed him last summer, stayed on loan there, and he's coming at United this summer. It's still a gamble. It's all based still on potential, and you're going to still need players for the now. I mean, is that why they're looking at the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo? Will they move on to other areas? I still think we need a centre-forward who's proven and who's got that CV in terms of goals.
Well, this is where it might go over the heads of some people. I'm not worried about data-driven and scouts and all that. I'm bothered about now. Yeah, of course, we're all bothered about now. That's what we want.
Yeah.
But, they're out there, they're looking for a head of recruitment, and this London-based company, what is it now, Sportsology, they're looking. So how long they've been looking, I'm not 100% sure on that. But if they find someone, just get him in as quickly as possible. But it is strange, the timing. Got to agree with you on that, Kieran. It is strange. You would have thought if they needed someone in that place, they would have looked at it before the end of the season. But, hey, this is United. Nothing surprises me.
Yeah, like I say, sorry to interrupt you, but with me saying that, and especially around the timing of looking for a head of recruitment, I did look back over the last few months in what Omar Barada, Sir Jim Ratcliffe specifically, have said about this upcoming transfer window and the plans for it. And just to reel off a couple of quotes there to refresh your memory. This is Omar Barada, this. I'm confident that we will come out of the window with a much stronger team than what we went going into it. We have been planning for many months now. Now it's a question of executing that plan and doing it in a way that is prudent, but at the same time with ambition. Have Manchester United gone into this transfer window being prudent, but most importantly, with ambition?
This is words. And, I can turn around and criticise it, I can praise it, but the thing is, he's come out with words again, another statement. We see statement after statement. At one point was calling it Statement FC. But this is so vital. This is the most important transfer window. They've got a plan. They're going to execute it. Well, end of the transfer window, 1st of September, we'll know if Omar Barada has been successful. He's got a big reputation when he comes to United. And at the moment,
and this is
it's not top of the tree for me, his reputation at the moment. And this could backfire on him. So let's hope he does it. We all want that. We all want the best for Man United. So I'm going to hold fire on it, because you have to hold fire on it. He wants the best for Man United. He's been brought in to turn it round and that. And we've had turmoil from the men in suits and everything and the players and all that. But this summer, it's got to be vital that they get the things in the right place at the right time. And they've got a plan. They've got to execute it. So let's see, 1st of September.
Yeah, and these quotes were made obviously before the Europa League final. So, just going back to it, he did also say we were ready for all the different scenarios and we know what we need to do. So they were prepared whether they were going to get European football next season or without European football, which we currently don't have next season. So I'm just thinking, where's this plan up to? Is the plan near the end or is it just starting?
Well, he's talking as a CEO, as a man who's confident that he understands the surroundings, he understands the problems and everything, and that they have made a couple of plans, couple of contingency plans, as they say. So he's prepared for it, and it's all about the execution now. And we've heard about the execution, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and things haven't come off. He's got to execute this one because he will be in big trouble if he doesn't, and the people around him will also be in big trouble. But most of all, Ruben Amorim, he'll have been let down. He will not have been backed if these plans, what they're executing, fail.
S. Madison says, a head of recruitment ? Mate, what have they been doing for the last 8 months? I don't know, my mate.
No, I don't.
If anyone out there has a clear indication of what's actually going on and the plan going forward,
Counting the pennies.
Please let us know. That's probably one of the things. Derek, don't have to apologise, mate. Late to the stream. Much appreciated you joining us from our members club.
Cheers, mate.
He says, data is important, but it cannot be the only metric in building a top team. We need to look at people, attitudes, mindsets and chemistry. And more importantly, mate, just the eye test. I mean, it's the best one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The best one.
Eye test is the best one, but you still need human contact. You still need to understand the human being. Will he fit in? Has he got the right temperament and all that? And we're losing a lot of experience. Like I say, Steve Brown, been there a long time, is the head. And I'm just worried that going further down the line, and I do agree with you, relying too much on data, is that what they're doing? If they are, for me, it's wrong.
Yeah, a lot of changes in the background, and you've just got to hope, fingers crossed, that the decisions that they are making in the background, more so than actually on the pitch, do work out in the next 2 to 3 years.
Listen, we hope things work out in the next 2 to 3 years. I've just got to sort of say, based on where we are now, is this a better squad? As this squad, I am laughing. I am laughing, right? Is this a better squad? Do we believe in this squad? Do we believe we'll get bigger than 8th?
Well, this is.
I want to hear from. It's everyone's problem. That's what I'm asking.
My point. Going back to it before, we won. Well, we got in 3 cup finals under Eric Ten Hag, won 2 trophies, and now going into this season after another transfer window under Ineos, we're all looking up the table thinking 8th might be a good season. I mean, that's still not good enough.
We used to win cups.
You can't sit here and praise that and hope for that. I don't want to be going into next season with that mentality. Everyone inside that football club has been talking about standards, winning mentality. I'm going into every game thinking we can win it or we should be winning it. Going into one when we just said, right, the plan has to be executed. Right? The plan has to be executed and we all have to sit and wait. We have to put our hands on our bum, right, and sit on them, right, till September the 1st. We've got to hope Mbeumo comes in, okay, and then we get the players out. That's the plan, okay, and then possibly some more players for Ruben Amorim, and that he can get these players playing in his style of football, okay. We don't have to go on about. Yeah, but the thing is, and I agree with a lot of people out there, I've said it myself, it's the hope that kills you. But I can't, as a football fan and a Manchester United supporter, go into the new season thinking, oh, my aim's 8th in the Premier League. I just can't. I can't do that. I mean, I'm not thinking we're going to make real progress next season. Champions League places. 8th is top progress. Trust me. 8th is top progress. I can't go in with that mind frame. You walk inside Carrington today where all them players are in the club. You walk in there and then you come out of there and tell me why you think United can get further than 8th. Because everyone in the background says the best in class and they talk about standards of winning mentality and they've got the right man in place in the dugout and that's Ruben Amorim. I mean, I'm just going off what they say. United, let's start the season now. Yeah, they keep talking about plans. They're executing plans. They've been planning for months. Well, I want to see it. and I want to see the end result of that, and we need to see improvement next season.
This is the generation where they want everything now. They want new trainers, they want that new coat and all that.
I'm not that generation. You know me. I'm your son. I am not like that. I'm far from that. I'm not materialistic or anything, but I'm not overly like, thinking
I got the fishing hook out there, didn't I?
Yeah,
got him right in. But that's the thing. We're football fans and we're all the same in a way. We want it now. But unfortunately, we're not. We're going to have to.
Not like that, though.
I'm going to use that word.
I am patient, but I'm not going into next season with that target in my head. 8th is good. That's not a good season.
Okay, well, you might have to go and sit in the corner for a few weeks.
Right, I might have to go and take a breather. I don't know, but hey, Derek from our members club has gifted 5 memberships.
Oh, thank you, Derek.
Absolute legend. Thanks for gifting the 5 memberships. The 5 people have been gifted their memberships. A big thank you to Derek. Phil Berry, he's going to get sacked again. I think you mean me, mate. I've been sacked 4 times before. I'm not going to get sacked again, though, today, am I?
I nearly sacked you this morning.
Why?
Just a bad attitude, son.
Bad attitude?
But that's life, innit?
You're going to have to explain that. You can't just tell everyone out there they had a bad attitude and then not explain it. I think it's more or less because your leg's hurting and you've got a bad attitude of everyone else. He's currently got a bandage on his leg at the moment. He looks like Sebastian Veron, who used to play for United. Are you all right? Tell everyone out there.
Well, it's glad of you asking, son. Do you know what I mean? No one nearly snapped me shin yesterday. But hey, that's life. I'm here. I'm a trooper. I put everything out myself. Didn't get any help while I was hobbling. But hey, that's life. I
think my dad Tony wants you to smash that like button for Tony's performance today. But as
the effort.
What about my effort? No, I give any effort at all.
It's all data driven with you. That's all it is. Data driven with him.
Data driven, eh? I'm the data analyst, and you're the one with the eye test who says it how it is. But
let's go. Let's.
Sam Ford, thanks for your super chat. Garnacho can perform, just can't cross and finish. Listen, yeah, there's a lot of the players though in that current squad who need to improve in a lot of aspects of the game, though, isn't they, mate? We've got to be honest with ourselves.
Garnacho can't cross. Problem is at United, every time there was a cross, was there anyone in there for it? That's what some people say.
We've had Grantham, domestic incoming, laughing faces. Well, on that note, I am actually going to wrap it up because I think you're going to need a lift. Putting all the stuff in that he's got out this morning.
No. So, I'm doing nothing now. I've done it all this morning, so I'm not lifting anything. So if we're back tomorrow, I think it'll be a miracle.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, nice one. And I also appreciate every single one of you joining us today, getting involved in the chat. Much. Please get it involved as well in the comment section and help support the channel as well by smashing that like button as well.
Sun cream, everyone's got to have sun cream on today. It's terrible. I don't know where you're living, but here in Manchester, this is so hot, it's unreal.
Yeah, I don't think it'll look like it. I'm not too sure what it looks like on camera at the moment with the settings to try and dim it so it's not a harsh light, but it is really bright out here in Manchester this afternoon, and hopefully it is wherever you're joining us from as well. But yeah, like I say, get that notification on. We will be back tomorrow with another live video, so come and join us, have a Manchester United chat and a bit of a domestic as well if you want to come and get involved.
There's always one of them.
There's always one of them. Smash that like button and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks everyone.
Thank you very much.
Oh, actually, no. Sorry, we're still here. We're still here. Just got another super chat through. United Star, thanks for your super chat.
Thank you.
We need at least 7th or FA Cup to get Europe. Qualifying for any type of European competition is needed this season.
Oh, it's needed. There's no two ways about that, right? But I don't see how, based at this very moment, we can get above 8th. Look at the teams, what are up there. That's all you have to do.
I'm not getting back into that conversation where we're going to finish next season. But you know my thoughts and opinions already. But yeah, thanks for joining us, United Star. Thanks for getting your super chat in.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all tomorrow.